everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm starting a new journal today. I know the last journal that I made, the Artful Autumn journal, it's like the same day I put out the intro video to that as well as the flip through. So I really, after coming back from vacation, got very like ahead of myself in terms of like getting videos done, because I was feeling a little like, oh, I haven't made any videos, and so I really got like way beyond too many videos almost. So, and I'm so impatient when I finish a journal. I just want to post it. I just want to get it out there so that I can send it off to its new home and I can get it out into the world. And so yeah, that's why there were so many videos on the same day. But I do not suspect that I will keep up that tempo, because as much as I wish that I could, I can't. So I want to do something a little different today. I was thinking about like the concept of like a pink fall journal, like pink and autumnal tones. I don't have anything that I've made for this yet at all. So what was I inspired by? What kind of kicked off this idea? I've had this piece of paper, just like it fell out of my scrap like paper bin a long time ago, and it's literally been sitting on the floor in my studio for days, in the back room where I have the pottery studio. I don't even know how it got over there. I'm guessing my daughter probably is implicated into this somehow. And it's just been sitting there, but I just was really inspired, like looking at it. It's just sitting there. And I loved this particular spot right here. It just to me looked kind of like a tree. It doesn't really, I know, but this is my imagination. And then I had this idea. So this is a vintage jacket that my daughter wore when she was a baby, and she has grown out of it, and it's got some rust staining on it here from when we were at a farm. There was like a rusty like fence, and she rubbed up against it, and I never even like washed it out. So that being said, I'm in this part of life where I have little kids. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they've grown out of all their baby clothes, and I lived very vicariously through them. I still do a little bit when they let me, with vintage baby clothes. So I've got this little outfit here. I have donated an unbelievable amount of clothing, and some of it I just like can't, and like you can resell baby clothes and all that, and I know that I just don't have the time or the like invested effort in doing so. So yeah, I just don't want to. I feel like I want to use these things up and make like beautiful journal covers and stuff in ephemera. So I have decided to keep sort of a selection of baby clothes that I have that are vintage, or just really lovely, because I also have some designer stuff that I really paid a little more for, because like I said, kind of live a little vicariously through my kids. So I want to use them for this. So that being said, I also picked up some digital papers from Gypsy Craftery on Etsy. So it was so funny. I was, I think like minds get like recommendations. So I was this morning, I guess, sitting on the couch super early in the morning, and I had just tuned into Belle at Bellaboo Creations. She is making an altered book with this kit from the same Etsy shop, and I was like, I just got the same kit. Like, we're clearly like having a mental connection moment here. So that being said, oh no, this is upside down. Okay, I have to stop fiddling with this. So I want to make a pink autumnal journal. So the first kit is quite autumnal, and I think I flipped this page upside down. Okay, yeah, this is the way it goes. So yeah, a bit autumnal and pumpkin-y, and I've sprayed and done some fun inking techniques to the backs of these pages. I might do a little demo on how I did this, because these turned out really nice and very unexpectedly wonderful. So this kit, there's a little glue bit there. Let me get this little bit of glue off. I accidentally dripped glue when I was working a little earlier, and this is like the stickiest glue. It is this glue stick that I have that There we go. That's better. That I use for certain projects. Anyways, so this kit is so fun. It's really like cute. And then she also has this. I feel like I have two signatures put together. 1, 2, 3. I absolutely do. Hold on. Okay. So how many pages do we have over here? Yeah. Okay, that's the right amount. So this is going to be a 5 signature book. So the other kit is actually a pink woodland kit. So I was like, well, that's pretty perfect. Those pages will be perfect. And again, I just did lots of fun inking techniques today. It was a lot of fun making these pages. So they're really pretty papers. Okay. 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll be using those 2 kits, and I haven't even started making any ephemera yet. I have to probably get started doing that. So those are the papers. But what I want to do first, I think, is just focus on making the cover. So I made this like the other day. I had a paper bag and I was like, I was calculating something on it, I don't know, and I was like, I'm gonna make a paper bag cover journal, because I've been sort of making this like deal with myself. Also there's a pocket right there that I'm thinking if I want to leave it or not, where like I want to use things up reasonably, and I'm like, I have a ton of fabric, but I also have a lot of old books, so maybe I'll go back and forth if I can, doing like fabric cover and then book cover. I don't know, we'll see. I always try to do these things and then like I'm like, oh, but I can't do that, I want to do this. So what I'm thinking, I'll start with like this little bonnet. I know it's so hard to think about cutting it up, but I can't like be so precious. It's got a little fraying here, you know, it's old. It's like, these are from like the 60s and 70s, these old things. So we don't, you know, need to be super precious. And also, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I have a real disdain for fast fashion and a real like concern about the planet and all of that clothing that's getting tossed into landfills and stuff. So I don't want to contribute to that, and because I've made these acquisitions of clothing, you know, now it's up to me to try to make sure that they get responsibly used. So as I mentioned, I've like donated a ton of clothes. So my one girlfriend had a baby girl about a year after I had my daughter, and I gave her boxes and boxes of clothes. Like I think I probably clothed her child for the first year and a half of her life. So that was good, because they were in a bit of a flux situation at the time, moving, and they were first time parents, and so yeah, you know, all that kind of stuff really helps. And I know it did for me, because our friends have 3 kids, and when my son was born, they were able to give me a whole bunch of clothes for him, which was really nice. You can't beat, you know, passing it along. It's great. So I've also like donated just tons to like, you know, charities, specific charities. So whenever I donate things to thrift stores, I try to donate what I see being sold at that particular store, like what that store seems to succeed with. I try to donate that. So like I have, there's a particular store near where I live, and they basically will take all things for babies and children, because like they have a really like big following of people who go there for that. I think like when you decide like we're going to sell this, that you know, it's a good idea, because then you get people who will come to your store just for that reason, right? So yeah, so they do that. So I take most of the clothes there when I don't have anywhere to gift them. I also take things whenever it's needed, because it's not always needed, to like the Indigenous Friendship Center and the network for Indigenous people, and also to women's shelters. There are a few that, you know, need things. We do a lot of toy donation that way too, because like centers where like if a woman has to flee with her children, they can often use like toys in very good shape to, you know, have as comfort items for the kids when they arrive in that kind of a space. So I try to do things in a way that's like, I'm not just dumping it off somewhere like Goodwill or the Value Village or something who will just, especially the Value Village, because they're mainly a for-profit company. But yeah, so I do try my very best to like put things where they're probably going to get the right kind of marketing or something, you know? Because I think sometimes people don't understand, like when you donate certain things, you're kind of just dumping your junk on someone else, unfortunately. And I really do think that a lot of people don't realize that. I think some people certainly do, because I know our local recycling center, they have real issues with people who will stop by after they're closed and throw things, you know, on their doorstep or in their dumpster. And every thrift store I go to has signs about like no donations after hours and stuff, because people love to just dump things off. And I really don't understand why, because where I live, like in the Greater Toronto area, we don't pay for garbage like a lot of rural areas do, where they have to buy like bag tags or something like that to be able to dispose of garbage. We do not, and it's all built into our taxes, and we have weekly, you know, trash and recycling, green bin pickup, and it's all, you know, standardized. So I don't know, other than people thinking that like it's easier on their emotions to drop it off somewhere and they feel like they're not doing harm. I don't know why they do it, but I wish they would not do it. So I'm just using glue stick, and the reason why is because I'm actually going to go over this with stitching, and I want to do a bit of a blend of paper and fabric on this journal. And for now I'm just doing the outer cover, the outside. I just want to collage that. And yes, I'm going to use this book page that inspired the whole situation here. And hopefully I can find some more. I need to dye paper. I've been like, I need to dye some paper for this book that I'm going to dye with brown, like coffee and pink dye. Because I want this to be, you know, pink and autumnal feeling. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to overlap a little bit the paper and the fabric. I'm just going to glue these like two folded pages together because the back one is not that interesting, but I like the thicker factor here. There we go. This one I think I'll put on the spine maybe. Yeah, and then I did sell some clothing to our local Once Upon a Child store, but they have like really strict rules around the donation of clothes. It's like, it's really hard to get them to accept your stuff. Like if it's not, they don't take anything vintage. It's like a safety thing, like because, you know, clothing didn't have the same flammability standards and all that kind of stuff like that it does now. And, you know, all those toxins that they put into things instead of just using cotton. I don't quite understand how that's better. I don't really believe it is. I also don't really think that most of the time your kids' clothes will catch fire in a way that's different than all the other things in your house, but I don't know. I've always found that to be a really weird thing, like about like what's flammable and what's not flammable. Like I understand things like mattresses and furniture and carpets, like you want to make those like not flammable and use a material like a viscose or something that's actually kind of anti, you know, flammable. But I never really understood it in children's clothes. I'm like, why would children, you know, be more susceptible to catching fire? Or do they do it in the rare event that there's a house fire that the children's clothing wouldn't be as flammable? I'm guessing like that's probably the reason. Makes more sense, but yeah, I've always been a big fan of just putting kids in cotton. I absolutely can't stand anything microfiber or like polyester. Like, ugh, I just can't. I don't know how people buy clothing from places like those Chinese shops like Shein. First of all, Shein is a terrible company because they steal the work of artists, and so I would never ever support them for that reason. This would be a really cute pocket. Let's just hang on to that. But yeah, they steal the designs of artists and they like resell them. They also aren't good to their workers. There's like a lot. You can Google the problems with Shein. They're also a massive contributor to fast fashion, which I don't like. And it stresses me out because there are so many YouTube channels just built around doing hauls from places like this. Like, I understand it for the plus size market because the one thing that they do have going for them is having inclusive sizing, which is not something that the majority of brands do. And because they have inclusive sizing, but also because they steal modern design from other creators, you know, they have interesting clothing, but also bathing suits, things that plus size people have a really hard time finding. So like they do have that going for them, but like, yeah, I mean, I wish they had better ethics. Early on, before I knew much about them, I purchased a bathing suit from them that I really liked, and then I didn't quite know like their whole origin story. I don't think that was like available to the public yet. And then I remember I ordered like a dress from them, and I got it and I wore it like one time, and I was like, I can never put this on my body again. I never felt so hot and like gross in my life, like, because it's just like microfiber. I can't even stand the bedding. Like, it's not breathable. It's just the worst, right? Ugh, I don't know how people have microfiber. Even like those couches, like the ones that are designed to like repel you know, like any kind of fluid that you spill. I just can't stand the feel. Like it always feels dirty to me, and also it like looks dirty, especially when it's like that taupe color. Everything like looks like it's a stain, even water that gets on it, and they always look stained and terrible. I don't like them. Even though I think they're supposed to be like anti-stain kind of. But you know, all that comes with the cost of like weird chemicals that we don't know much about. Like, I'm not super crunchy or anything, but like I definitely care about that sort of thing. Okay, I need some, I think I like this aged book page too. It's really kind of like an old fairy tale book. So I'm thinking some of that could be really cute. I also might grab another piece of clothing because it might get tedious to have only this one piece, like this one pattern. I do want to use these buttons though. I'm going to just cut the button band right up off this jacket here. I'm not going to use those little embroidered animals because they don't go with my theme for my journal. So this button band, I think I want to put it like on the edge right here. And I'm hoping there's enough space for me to stitch it on. Actually, I could do it this way. Which way do we want to do it? Maybe this way, because then I could use it like, potentially I could do a closure with that. That would be pretty cool. I think there will be space for me to stitch here. I can do that. I just have to be a little careful. Also, I may thin it out a little here. We don't need this quilt jacket lining. Perfect. Yeah. Fuzzy Town. Okay, here we go. So my daughter, she is so awesome. I know everybody says that about their kids, but my 5-year-old, tonight I have given her a reward because she is so awesome. So just out of nowhere, she's really started to do an awful lot of things to just help us around the house. Like, we don't have yet any kind of like a chore or allowance system set up or anything like that. Like, we just, I don't know, we haven't gotten to that yet, really. We haven't needed to. We've thought about it because it's going to be part of the whole teaching her about money and, you know, opening her own spending account and that kind of thing. So I'm on the track to do all of that. I just haven't done it yet. But like, she's really just started to do a lot of kind things. First of all, she's just super nice. Like, I don't know, I'm sure everyone feels that way about their kids, but like, you know how sometimes your kids, they can just be like normal, doing whatever they do, but then there's like other times where they just kind of go out of their way to like do something for you. So what I've noticed is she, after dinner, randomly she will just come and like, she'll see that we've finished eating and she'll just grab our plates and carry them off to the counter and put them, you know, up on the counter, put them in the sink. Like, she just cleans the plates for like no reason. I haven't asked her to do it, but she's just doing it. And then, you know, she's very helpful. Like tonight, somebody bamboozled me and I was making spaghetti for dinner, my son's like all-time favorite meal. So I did not even notice that there was a hole in the bottom of like the bag the spaghetti comes in, and I like opened the other end, and when I was preparing getting the spaghetti and putting it in the pot, like nothing fell, there was no problem. But then as I was putting it away, like a bunch of spaghetti fell out the hole in the bottom. So I'm thinking, I'm going to blame my husband for this one, that he actually cut the corner off the bag and just took a little bit out, probably to make like the kids, just the kids, like a little spaghetti lunch or something. And I didn't notice the hole because it was so tiny. So I'm going to say my husband probably bamboozled me. And then my daughter's like, "Oh no, what happened here?" And she said as she came back into the kitchen, because she was outside with her dad. And I said, "Oh, there was a hole in the spaghetti bag. I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet because I was just getting everything going on the stove. Like the water was boiling and I was making a sauce, and I was also making avocado dye because I have to dye paper." And so she's like, "Oh, I'll pick it up." So she just like starts going ahead and picking it up. And I said, "That's great." And, you know, so one thing, I mean, it's not obviously like parenting, nothing is perfect. So one thing we talked about the other day was like, she had gone to her little Sparks group that she goes to. It's like the precursor to Brownies. It's for the little ones. And so when she went, they had been talking about like being thankful. So they don't specifically talk about Thanksgiving because of its like correlation to, you know, colonialism, right? So but they do talk about like being thankful for, you know, your family, your house, like all these things. And they talk a little bit about how not everyone has these things, you know, so that your child can kind of appreciate their own privileges and, you know, I think kind of learn to appreciate things in life in general. Like I get a feeling from the Girl Guides that they are looking to do that in a nice like secular way, and I'm happy about that. So she had gone and she had made like this card that said thankful and all this kind of stuff, and you know, I know they had talked about it, but when I asked her like what they did and stuff like that night, like she didn't take any time to tell me. Like she's like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't remember." And I felt like so, I was just disappointed, you know what I mean? Like I was disappointed because I felt like it looked like it was a really good, you know, kind of night, a good lesson and that kind of thing, and it left me feeling like, oh, did she not pay attention? Like what was going on, right? But I think what it was is she was just like not in the mood to talk about it. And the truth of the matter is that is kids, and you know, you just need to adjust, and you don't need to have like major expectations. So like I didn't express anything to her that I was upset or disappointed or anything. I didn't even say anything to her. She wouldn't have known a difference. But internally I felt a little bit like, you know, I was hoping for more. So that being said, I did say to her like this morning, or no, I guess yesterday morning, I said, you know, I feel like maybe like lately we've been letting her, she's been interested in playing the Nintendo Switch Mario Odyssey. It's like a video game, right? Like Super Mario for those of you who are closer to my age. And so she has really been into that. And I feel like it's kind of become this situation where that's all she wants to do, because lately when we've been doing homeschool stuff, she'll say to me like, well, can I play my game after this? So immediately I started to feel like I don't want her to feel like that's the reward and everything else is time wasting or mediocre or a punishment or something you have to do, right? Because like I really strive to do fun homeschooling, and like I want her to feel like, you know, learning is important. We've talked about how like learning and education are kind of like the, you know, like through play, and I'm, you know, pretty much attachment parent who unschools mainly with a little bit of curriculum. So it's literacy based and interest-based education. So like at the same time though, you know, I do need her to get the general tenets of education as we move through all of this. So I said to her this morning, I feel like we need to take a little bit of a break from playing video games for a little while. And so she was immediately like, like, you know, and I said, so you see how upset you feel right now? And she's like, yes, you're not going to let me do fun things anymore. And I said, so that is exactly why I want us to take a break, so that I can show you something. And so she kind of was like, I think I was successful in saying it in the way that she didn't feel like it was a punishment or there was a ton of permanence to it. So what I said was like, give me a chance, okay? I want to show you something. I want to show you that like video games aren't the coolest thing, right? That you can do with your day. And also I wanted to kind of address this situation I've noticed lately where when we're learning about something, she feels like if she doesn't know the answer and she's not right, she doesn't feel like she's like winning or something, then she's discouraged and she doesn't want to participate. So these are all totally normal things. Even I saw this when I worked in, you know, elementary school when I was doing that in another lifetime of mine. So what I said to her was like, the best thing about not knowing the answer is like, or getting the answer wrong. That's exciting because that means that you now get to learn something. Imagine if you knew everything in the whole world. It would be so boring. You'd never talk to anyone because you already knew. You know everything that they were going to tell you. You wouldn't watch anything. You wouldn't read anything because you know it all, right? Like how boring would life be? So this afternoon we had a really good sit down for several hours learning about invertebrates and vertebrates and all of the classes of animals, and like we had such a great conversation, and it was like a really good lesson that she ended up going off and telling her dad about. And like you know, we watched the life cycle of frogs. We have plans to raise some tadpoles in the spring and whatnot, so it was really good, and I feel like I connected with her, and I'm so just thankful that that's how things went. So, you know, over the last few days, it's been that kind of behavior from her that like we've come to an improvement already. I asked her, can you please prove me wrong? Can you show me that you don't feel like the only fun things are like screens, right? So she did that. And so tonight I gave her a little reward, and I got her this game that she's wanted to play. She's been seeing it on TV and she's like, oh, I really want to play. And it's Luigi. It's, you know, Mario's brother. So it's the Luigi's Mansion game. So she's playing it right now. I'm limiting it to like an hour though, you know, but like, yeah, I feel like it was encouraging. I'm always looking to like blend kind of, you know, some, I'd say, not classic parenting, but like tried and true methods with modern methods, and hopefully somewhere in the middle I get the result that I'm looking for, and I have this time, so I feel good about that. Anyways, I am blathering on. I'm going to just pause for a minute and get a different fabric because I want to fill some of this in with something else. So, no momento, por favor. Alrighty, I am back. And I grabbed this. This is like, this is from Mennonite, the Mennonite area around where I live. And it's really fun and folksy and wonderful. And I think it will be good for this theme. I just don't know about, I don't want to put anything with the blue. I don't think it's going to be right. So I'm going to avoid anything that contains blue. And I'm going to try to fill the rest of it with just the orange, brown, black, white combo. So a little bit of a challenge, but we could do it. So this piece, I think one of those horses would just be so great. I love those horses. They're like so folksy and fun. So we'll head right on up here. And under this blue, this is linen. So it has a lovely feel to it. And I'll just cut on around this little checkered area here. This first bit. Okay, move this out of the way. Then I need to understand, so the journal's going to look like this. In the front we have this, in the back we have that. I mean, that would be really cute just there. But I'm also thinking I'd love to have the horse on the front, that cute little folksy horse. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Yeah, so let's do that. I need to straighten this edge. I wonder if I can do that by maybe fold here and just try to be like, I should probably use like a ruler and a fabric cutter, but I don't have that handy, and maybe that's what I need to do, is have a fabric cutter and a little ruler handy, and then I'd be more compelled to do this a different way. But I'm good. This is good. I like that shape. So how far down do I want this? Maybe I'm going to cut to just here. Okay. Oh, it's so cute. All right, that's so cute. Now I'll glue that on. Oh, sticky, sticky fingers. Perfect. Then we've got this little spot we need to cover right there, and I might just do that with one of these squares because it will go onto the spine a little bit, which I like. There we go. I'm thinking, I don't know what the weather is like this weekend, but I'm thinking about maybe having a picnic with my kids and seeing if my parents want to do something, because we have Monday off. So I might do that. So tomorrow I get my bivalent COVID booster shot. My daughter gets her booster and my son gets his first shot the following week, because they're not doing it like the shots for the under 5s in my area. Like, I don't know what is going on. It's super annoying. But yeah, so I've got to travel to another city, and I just booked it as soon as I could because we have like a ton of things going on right now with like other things. But I mean, that's a huge priority for me. I want to get him vaccinated. I want that done. I've been waiting to get it done. Like, they took forever to get the vaccine for the under 5s. Like, it was just a little ridiculous how long that took, because it was available in the United States for like way before it was available here, which was very frustrating to me. But that's another story for another day when I'm feeling grumpy, which isn't today. Okay. This one, maybe. No, right there. I need to straighten the top out again. Oh gosh, I'm definitely going to set up my fabric cutter because this is challenging. Okay. Somebody just sneezed super loud upstairs. Surprisingly, it wasn't me. My allergies have been craziness this week. I think it's honestly the linden tree in my front yard. I have like, linden trees are beautiful, and also they're kind of cool because you can, they make these little seeds and you can actually like roast them and eat them. Like you can make ice cream with them. They have a particularly nice like taste. I've never done it, but I have seen Alicia from the Black Forager do it on Instagram, and she's awesome, and I learn a lot from her, and I would definitely love to try this method that she showed. But anyways, like the tree is lovely, but it does emit this sap. And if I've talked about this before, I apologize. It's like a sap that just attracts all manner of mainly wasps, mainly yellow jackets. So I'm not, I would say, its biggest fan for that, but that's okay. It gets all over my car, and then my car is completely covered in like yellow jackets, but they've been really like non-threatening, so that's nice. They don't try to sting us when we're outside, so that's just fine with me. Then I don't have to be grouchy about them. Alright, so maybe a little bit more vintage book page over here in this gap. I'm almost finished with this book. I've moved on to using this glue book here. I find I like having a bigger glue book than like just like to do my gluing on than just your standard small little like old book, because like you can do a lot more with it. Especially if you're using it also to make ephemera like I usually am. Alright, so this needs to get a little bit thinner. Oops. Right there. Yeah, we'll take a little bit off the bottom. That should be good. Okay. I'm trying to decide what new TV series I want to start watching in my quiet moments, because I have insomnia. I always get seasonal insomnia when the seasons are changing, and it's brutal sometimes. So what I end up doing is just like, you know, eventually they say that you should stop trying to go back to sleep and laying in bed, because you're actually not probably going to get back to sleep. And if you just decide to maybe get up for a little bit and do something, you have a better chance of kind of getting tired and actually getting back to a REM sleep for a while. So that's what I do. And usually I read. But if I don't feel like reading because my eyes are tired, because that happens to me as well, then I watch a little TV. The last thing I watched was the Sandman series. Now I think I'm going to watch that new, it's on Prime, it's like Rings of something. It's, I think, like a Lord of the Rings carry-on story. I'm thinking of watching that. I know a lot of people are watching like true crime stuff, but I just can't right now. I'm just not feeling true crime these days. I used to watch true crime, and then I sort of like, my perspective has changed a little since having kids, because I don't know, I became way more sensitive to a lot of things. And also I've kind of got this perspective now, like I know that I'm not going to say his name, but there's a very popular Netflix series about an American madman, basically, who is really horrible. His initials are JD, but I won't say his name. And you know, he victimized so many, primarily gay men is who he went after. And the perspective from the families is that essentially, like, some of them have come out and said that they feel like they've been re-victimized. So I feel kind of like, you know, Netflix should care about that. We should care about that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm happy with this little cover. I think this is taking on its own personality. So what I'm going to do, I will pause here and I'm going to go do my stitching, and then I will come back and show it to you, and then I have to think about what I want to put on the inside cover as well. So yeah, I'll be back. Okay, I am all stitched around. So yay, I love this. I really love this. So basically what I did is I primarily used just a single stitch, and I went around sort of all the squares of everything. Oh, I see a spot that I missed. I will do that. And I used a little bit of zigzag here and there, but not a lot, because I didn't want it to be like too patchworky, overwhelming. I want just the, you know, the color and the texture and the theme to be what's most important. So I'm going to look for lines that I missed, like this one, and I'm going to fill those in. Then I'm probably going to seal this paper so that it's a little stronger than what it is just as paper. I'll probably use a matte medium to do that, and yeah, then I will be on to the next step. So see what I was saying about these buttons? I'm wondering if I might be able to use those in a closure. That could be a lot of fun, but we'll have to think about that. So you can see here all my stitching on the back. I will next probably go in and, you know, get started on what I want to do with the inside, but I have to go through these signatures. I need to get more papers, because this is just kind of the bare minimum, just the digitals that I've planned for this journal. And so yeah, we have a lot more to go, and I'm really excited about this. Okay, so that's it for me for now. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me chat about everything from, you know, alligators to Zambonis, and we will be back next time. If you liked watching this casual kind of chat, crafty kind of video, feel free to subscribe. I would love it if you did. No pressure. And I hope you have a lovely day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.